lots of agents use this tool in different ways. And one of the things that we are confident in is that this can be a door opener for really big annuity cases. This can be a way for you to get into a family's life through a different door than you're not comfortable with.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Annuity Fundamentals. I am your host, Kylie Malott, joined with our co-host, Ryan Anderson, and today we have a very special guest. Super excited to have her. We have Stephanie Maloney. Stephanie Maloney has been with Premier. She's the CEO, should I say, of Premier Estate Planning. Her and her husband have been doing estate docs for the past 30 years. So when we're talking about longevity in the career, they know how it's done. They've got it. So Ryan and I, with Annuity Fundamentals, we try to really help our agents get from, A to B and get into the money. And a part of that conversation is estate planning. So we have joined forces with Premier Estate Planning, and they have helped us in that avenue, helped get our clients the correct estate planning docs. So thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us. We're happy to have you, and we're excited to learn something new today.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I love to expose everybody to this subject. So this is a fantastic opportunity.
All right. Well, think about it now. You have been in this business since 1995, CEO, founder of the organization. You've done over 25,000 different estate plans, which is significant. Now, the thing about it is that most of the things here that we like to go through when we work with our agents, we like to give them something that they can apply immediately in their business. And one of the things that we looked at a lot of different companies to partner with, and one of the reasons we came down to Premier Estate Planning was because of the amount of support that you offer, the training that you offer, not just for the agents, but also for the clients as well. That was huge for us. And what really prompted this was that I sit down, and I've been doing the insurance and the financial services for years. And I would sit down, and we have our nice little fact finder, and there's a question in there: do you have a will or a trust? And they would say yes or no. And then if they said no, and this is the most common answer I've got: no, that's something I've been meaning to do. And then I would say, you know what, I work with a couple of local attorneys. Here's a couple of numbers. Give them a call. And then I'd move on from there. However, due to a series of events, I decided I'd change that approach and decided, hey, I think that we're missing some opportunities here to serve our clients and to really possibly increase some revenue as well. Now, if I was an agent and I wanted to add estate planning to my stable of products, if I wanted to go through and make that leap, how would I do it? So that's the first question. The second question is, how could I add this process to my sales process now without too much effort? Like, again, the question, do you have a will or a trust? Is that a good question, or is there one better? How would you approach that? So I'm going to kind of turn it to you and let you just take it, Stephanie.
Okay, excellent. And very good questions. And the way I like to say it is we're adding a new tool to your tool belt, right? We have a lot of things to offer the public. And the way I think about estate planning, it's like we're putting a bow of control around everything that we are doing. So you're putting fantastic tools in place for families. We want to help them keep their wealth and one day be able to distribute it to their beneficiaries without hassle. And so this is a vital step to bring into your process. And, the question, do you have a will or a trust? It's an easy one for them to kind of slide by, in my opinion, or just say yes or no. And then most agents don't know where to go from there. They just check the box and go, well, they said no. And maybe they'll have a referral like you do, but a lot of agents wouldn't even have that. They would just make their notes that this person doesn't have it. But what we would be wanting to do is teach them different ways, just like you do through your annuity process, different ways so that it's not just an easy yes or no. We want them wondering what we're talking about. So one of the things that we coach our agents on is using terminology like, do you have your succession documents in place? Because most people, that doesn't sound familiar to them. They're like, what do you mean, my succession documents? And it could be an easy spinoff depending on what you're doing. But a lot of our annuity tools have benefits that happen during life, such as income payouts, maybe, living benefits. And if suddenly we've become incapacitated, it's my contract. I can't make the claim. So I'm going to need somebody to do that for me with what I like to refer to as a permission slip. So this is very vital to bring into our process. And when you ask a family, do you guys have your succession documents in place? And when they come back and go, well, I don't know. What do you mean, Stephanie? Well, like your advance directives or your wills, powers of attorney. So again, we're also through this process with agents. We're going to help them gain their conversational competence so that they feel more comfortable having these base discussions, because it's intimidating for them too. And especially if they're learning on the annuity side, there's so much to learn. And now they're going, oh, I got to learn this too. But with just very few questions, we can pique their interest, because what we're doing, we want to get them in front of us so we can educate your client, because we want to be part of your back office specialty department in this area to make you look better as the advisor. So that is one of the questions that we've been saying for a long time. Do you have your succession documents in place instead of a will or a trust? Nobody knows what you're talking about.
I think that language right there, I've never even heard that before. So I've been in countless appointments asking the same question and getting absolutely nowhere. So if I'm doing it, I know there are others that are doing it as well. And succession docs, just switching your language from do you have a will or a trust in place to do you have succession docs, that automatically makes people think, wait, what? It really will take a pause in the appointment, and then that will get them to think deeper. And if you are in an annuity appointment or you're trying to qualify the client for an annuity, they have assets to protect. So that conversation very much needs to happen. More often than not, it's just they don't know the avenue to go down. So I think having just that little language, which is what agents are looking for all the time. What do I say? How do I bring it up? What words do I use? Having a little bit to go in there and to show, oh, I'm not just talking about wills or trusts, even though that really is, right? It is estate planning, but because you package it differently, the conversation goes a little bit further. And that's what we're wanting. Even when we're doing annuity fundamentals, we're wanting that annuity conversation to go that one extra step further to get a little bit deeper. So I love that, Stephanie. I think that's great. When you're talking to, so let's say that how far should the agent take it, right? They ask, do you have succession docs? That conversation goes a little bit further. Okay, let me help you. What's their next step on to getting them to meet with you guys?
Well, and I think what you're asking, or at least what I want to add to this part of the conversation, is how far should they go? Well, obviously, they're only going to be able to go as far as they can. We
Right.
don't want them getting in the weeds or ruining or messing up why they're there, right?
Right.
We don't want to mess up their process, what they're there for. We're just trying to make our note. So here's another term too, permission slips. Because another way an agent can ask it is, do you have your control documents in place? Because succession to some people might feel like distribution. And a lot of people think they have that handled with beneficiaries. But not everything has a natural beneficiary. So control documents, that's why we're here. Because one of the things that I would love an agent to be comfortable saying is, well, we don't all die the first time we try. Because that gets people, and most people have that response, right? Unless they're
That's
in
true.
the throes of dealing with something very serious, which you're not going to use that in that situation. But if we get there way before the house is on fire, and we can be very candid and frank, because we are just truly helping a family put a bow of control around everything they have,
Right.
including themselves. So, Kylie, I apologize. What was your question again? I go on tangents.
No worries. No, I just want to, giving that agent, okay, where do I stop talking and where do I pass it off to the experts before I mess it up?
I think, within a couple of minutes, if the conversation kind of blossoms, because sometimes people have been looking for somebody to help them. They've known, most people, especially if they have kids, they've known for years they've needed to do this. Spouses have been looking at each other, kicking the can down the road for a long time. Bill, let's go to this seminar these people are having. They're going to give us steak, bribing him. She's wanting to get this done. So it's not the first time. And then they hear this. Somebody they're already trusting. They're in your home. you like them enough to allow them to come to your house, and now they open up this door. You're like, oh my God, I've been waiting to walk through this one for a while. So what we're doing on this appointment, we're getting their attention, piquing their interest to hopefully want to meet with us. Selling that appointment. Say, hey, you know what? Let's not get sidetracked today, but I absolutely have a fantastic specialist for you that can really help educate you guys so you really understand all the documents that are available. I had no idea how much goes into estate planning, but it is actually pretty simple for most of us when you have the right person to hold your hand. So if you guys would like, let me connect you with Premier Estate Planning. And however, we're teaching them how to make that connection, either through an email introduction or what have you.
As we go through here, so let's just take this step back a little bit further so that I'm in the appointment. I am sitting there and I'm saying that, so we'll say this is a scoped Medicare appointment, or this is a final expense appointment, and I'm there for it. I'm going through my fact-finding process, which every agent out there, if you don't have a consistent fact-finding process you use every time, go to our class, annuityfundamentals.com, book yourself a exploratory call, and we will give one to you. We've got that stuff for you. And I don't care what your gateway product is, you need to have that. So we're going through our fact-finding process. What's your name, your address? Tell me about your health. We get down to life. We get down to wherever it's at, and we ask them that question. Do you have a will or a trust? No, but that's yesterday's version. Today's version is, do you have your succession planning documents in place? Do you have your succession planning arrangements in place? Whatever that might be. Do you have an appropriate estate planning setup? But to listen, I like that succession planning document. So do you have that? Then they'll say yes or no, and let's just say no, we don't. But that's something that's been a concern for me. The way that I personally handle that is, well, I'm here today to talk to you about Medicare or life, whatever it might be. But with your permission, this is an area that we also specialize in and we help folks with. We have a team of folks that we work with that can meet with them. When I get done here, I'm going to collect some information from you, and we'll set up a call to take care of that. Would that be all right with you? Something like that. Then you've given us a 6-page packet that we fill out that I can either leave with them or I can come back and get with them, but let them know that there is more of a process to it. And the thing about it is that what I love about your guys' process is that the clients need some education. The clients need, all right, this is not just here's the packet and then somebody shows up 6 weeks later. There's too many holes in that. They need a 20, 30, 40 minutes of, all right, let's sit down and talk about this. Now, because of that one of the things with Annuity Fundamentals that you came up to our office here this last week, and we spent hours videotaping, or not videotaping, that's old, whatever it is, but as far as filming, thank you, recording it, so that in our masterclass that we have got those modules as part of it, how to sell it, how to explain it. We've got client-facing videos that they can send to the client in order to prepare them for that, where we've got that training for the client in advance. And the idea here is, don't change your lead system. Don't change your how you're doing your sales process. Simply add a little bit of language and create an additional revenue source. Now, my question to you, Stephanie, is that when agents start this, and you've been doing this for years, what are some of the big stumbling blocks, the problems you see most often that agents commit? What are the errors they make that, oh, I've got to fix this? And use me as an example. Okay, Ryan, I can't read your handwriting. I actually need you to type the form in. Ryan, I need you to talk to your clients. Ryan, I need you to go through and there's a list. I've got a very lovely, nicely tactful email that said, Ryan, you dropped the ball 17 times and here's how you fix it. So go ahead and kind of let's talk about that.
Okay, Ryan. So, lots of agents use this tool in different ways. And one of the things that we are confident in is that this can be a door opener for really big annuity cases. This can be a way for you to get into a family's life through a different door than you're not comfortable with. So first, I want to encourage agents to be open to that. And what we want to say to an agent is, don't let this process bog you down either. We want you to take it into your life and use it as it feels good to you. But the more an agent uses it and becomes part of it, that will also help really develop the relationship and rapport with the family. So I encourage an agent to let us help you as much as possible, first and foremost. And I typically like the client to complete the data. So even unless I'm sitting in the office, I send data forms personally to clients and they complete it. Because that helps me get a better understanding where they're deficient and lacking in their understanding, right? As they're filling out these sheets. So that's one thing I would encourage. Let the client complete those data sheets. Or as the agent, go, you know what? We're going to set up a time for you to sit with Premier. They'll collect your data. So that's definitely data collection's the most pivotal part. We don't need their blood type and hair samples, right? We just need contact information essentially for these people, which many of them have right in their phones. So the information shouldn't be hard to gather, but the problem can be in helping the client really understand what you're asking them, right? So if the agent barely understands who their people are supposed to be and what that even means, your client's often going to be intimidated and not even want to ask, even if they don't understand. And we found that to be true with some of your cases because they really just were a little like uncertain about, well, what do you mean about this? Like some people think a successor is the same as a beneficiary. So it's a very big learning curve often for the vocabulary of this subject area.
Now, one thing about you guys that I liked about it, because we looked at a lot of different companies for this, and a lot of the other companies out there that we were talking to, that their model was, we're going to send the client a link, they're going to take it and they're going to fill it out and they're going to send that back to us. Now, you guys don't do that quite on purpose, the conversation. Can you talk about that and why that's a significant difference between you and other organizations out there that do that?
Yes, we really want to have the opportunity to educate a family. You know, you're going to get occasionally where they're ready to go. They've already maybe been through education. So they finally found their place and they feel good about you, so they're going to hire you. But most people really don't have a lot of knowledge base. And so the education component should really be emphasized. You know, it's so important because for the agents that I do have that tend to just essentially tell their clients, you need to get this done. You know, the ones they've been serving already, they're already in their book of business. You guys need to get this done. And they value their advisor. They trust them. So they go, okay, they complete the form. They don't know what they're doing. They don't understand why we're doing this stuff. They're shocked by the amount of documents they get in their kit. When people work with us, they're going to get a follow-up email that says, here's what you can expect, what your service entails, what documents you're getting. So when they get that big book in front of them several weeks later and they're going, oh my God, what is all this? Those are the people that never got education. They're just like, they just trust their person. They're like, he says we need it. Like everything else he tells us to do, we trust him. So we're going to listen. But then they're always just so like, I mean, they're like, oh, we'll just run to the bank and get this notarized. That was how a couple of your people were, because it was really challenging to find a notary for that area because it's kind of outlying. And I'm like, you're not going to be able to take this to the bank. Like they're not, you know, they're just not familiar. So the education component, it's vital. And yeah, it would be great if we could just get data sheets in and not have to spend our time educating. But this is the vital part of the step. This is where we shine. And it's going to help you look better because you brought somebody to them that they needed. And we never talk about the fact that we also do annuities. We're not talking to them about our stuff. We're just there to serve their client and make them look better. So the education is pivotal.
I love that you said that because it's true in every aspect of what we do as agents. I mean, you can sit in a room full of all of these insurance agents and maybe sure you have a quarter of them that are actually good salespeople. But if they have any business being in this line of work, they need to be educators first and foremost. Because, I mean, everyone's new to Medicare, so you're not sure they might have a baseline understanding, right? Because their mom had it, and so they understand some, but they don't really know how it affects them. And then when you get into the estate planning, the same is said, right? They've heard of wills and trusts, just like I have, but if you ask me the nitty gritty, let's get dirty about it, I would say, let me call Stephanie, right? Because my knowledge on that is very limited, which that's what most agents are coming in. They're not well equipped, so they need someone to be added to their team, such as yourselves, right? So you need if this is an agent and you're listening to this saying like, okay, wills and trusts, I know that's important, but I really don't know how to get into the conversation. It's all about that language. She gave us three winners. We have succession documents, control documents, permission slips, right? Between those three, that's language that we can use to then pass that off to Premier Estate Planning, right? You're not asking us to be the professional in that, are you?
No. We just want to make you look better. We want to make you shine, and we want to help you build this relationship that I always say when I sit with a client, I'm hoping to be in their lives until either they're gone or I'm gone. This isn't a one-time deal. And guys, one of the big powerful parts of how we do this is our succession planning or our successor education that we do once families get this in place, because most people do pick their children. Well, their children have less knowledge than they do. Right? Because what's the hallmark of estate planning? That's for older, wealthy people. So while we're in the hustle of life, we're not thinking we need that. I mean, some people truly don't think about it for themselves until they lose a parent. And they're like, well, I guess it's my turn now. I'm up, right? Well, we all know we don't all make it to that part of life. And successor training is about now, as the agent, guys, this is the part we want you to be part of. Because now you get an opportunity to sit, and it's usually on a Zoom because people are all over the place. And now here we are, and if Kylie was the agent, she would introduce me and, to the family of her client. The people that this money will transition to down the road. How are we going to get in front of the next greatest wealth transfer that's going to take place? Do you want to get that call when it's time for them to need the claim paperwork for their annuity and they've never met you or talked to you? Or do you want to be their first call because you've been in their lives for 30 years, serving their family, now serving them too? And they get the call and you're one of the first people they call to go, oh, mom passed away. It's not, hey, you have a client that you serve. Her name is this. She's my mom. You've been with her for like 25 years. Oh, Kylie. Oh, wow. Never met. So successor education is a really easy way, too, to get in front of them. And they're going, oh, my gosh, I had no idea I needed to even think about this for myself. Kylie, can you guys do this over in Florida, too? Absolutely, we can. Kylie will get you in front of me. She'll get us connected, right? Because, again, we're always pushing them to you to make the connection to us. We don't want to be your front. We don't want your clients. We want to help you keep your clients and gain more. And I truly feel that estate planning is very much like a ladder. Because now if my client I'm serving because I met them through an annuity opportunity, and now I get to meet their kids 3-4 months down the road doing successor ed, they're in their 40s, well, you could very likely have other tools that they may need from you that you can begin introducing them to. Because a lot of people that are in their early 40s, heck, a lot of people in their 50s still don't have advisors in their lives. They're working, they're putting money in 401ks, they don't think they have enough, and often they don't have enough for a traditional AUM business model because they want you to have at least 250. So there's a lot of people out there that are just kind of doing their best, sticking money in a 401k. They see something on a video and they go, oh, I'm going to try that. But now you get a chance to bring them in. Or if you meet the 40-year-old, oh, are your parents still living? Wonderful. Do they have their control documents already? Because one day you're going to either be an executor or a trustee, and I promise you, you're going to want to be a trustee. Do you think we should talk to them? Absolutely. So it's a really easy conversation once you're there and you're already providing value in so many ways.
But now, as you're talking about that, there's a couple different things here that I want to bring up 2 points, and I'd like to we're only about 6-7 minutes left here. That number one, that when they come back to sign the documents, that you ask that one of the requirements is we have to have 2 witnesses to do that, which is wonderful because then it's like the language that we were using. I bring the mobile notary with me, and I let them know I need you to bring 2 witnesses that are not in the documents. It can't be your kids or spouses or something. It can't be a beneficiary. So just 2 people like you. So they're going to call their golf buddy. They're going to call their lady they go shopping with to get their nails done with. And then we go through this process. And then I have found that quite often those witnesses are like, can you do this for me? So all of a sudden I've got lead sources, and if they are in the same socioeconomic strata, then there are additional annuity opportunities, Medicare opportunities, life opportunities, whatever your gateway solution is. So all of a sudden this is now a lead source for it. Now, I want to be really careful here, and as we kind of wrap up here, can you go through the documents that are included in the succession planning? So if they go through and they say, yes, I want to get this, the standard estate plan, the standard succession planning, these are the documents that are included with the services. And I want to also be really clear about your guys' business model, that if you go through here and you access us through Annuity Fundamentals, that there is no cost for the training, there's no cost to access you guys, that you will go through, we will have the documents there, we will give them training on our end, they'll have access to you, and then you go through that we've got some pricing that is set, and I don't want to list the pricing out here, it's very competitive, and the only reason I don't want to list it here is because I don't know how old this video is going to be when people see it. And I don't want them to be 5 years from now, well, it said on the video. And I was like, well, yeah. So check the link below and we can help you with that. And then the agent gets compensated out of that. So you guys do all the collecting, you do all that, and then you cash the agent out. But what are the documents that are included in that?
Yeah, so for a family that decides to do a full revocable trust estate plan, and most people do once they have the education, they're going to have, of course, their trust. They're going to have a summary document called a certificate or an abstract of trust. They're having wills in addition to a trust. And that's always a shocker even for our clients that have had their stuff for 20 years when they're looking back through things. And this will functions a little differently. They're going to have a document called a general assignment. And that's to assign their untitled assets to their trust because we don't want to go through probate. And that's probably the number one reason people use trust. They learn later that there are other great benefits, but that's why they came to the table. That's what they were worried about. And then, of course, we're going to have our lifetime control documents, powers of attorney. So you're going to have your financial durable power of attorney for all of their financial accounts that aren't in the trust, as well as any contracting that needs to be done on their behalf using that document. You're going to have your health care, advance directive, living wills, and depending on their state, those are broken into several documents sometimes, but we in Arizona, we put it all in one, but all of the healthcare decision-making documents they need will be available and part of their set. A guardian nomination for adults. This is a relatively new document that's come across the country in the last 10 years, and we think about guardianship for children, but sometimes we need it as adults as well, and this keeps courts and attorneys out of your life if something comes up down the road, something bad happens. Let's see. Oh, for those of us that live in community property states, we have a community property marital agreement to make sure you're making your proclamation that you would want your full step up at a first death for any jointly held asset. And so a married couple, and of course, all of our pricing includes one property deed because a hallmark of using a trust is you have to retitle assets into the name of the trust. So any properties that families own, you have to create new deeds.
And if they want more deeds, they can add that. There's just a small fee for that. And
Okay. Just, once we work with a family and we get a full picture of what they're wanting to accomplish, and there's only two areas that would increase their cost. If they have multiple deeds that we would need to do, or if they have something complicated going on with their distribution. Troubled adult beneficiary, special needs circumstances for someone receiving SSI, or disinheritances, and then of course dealing with minors. That's a really pivotal one for those agents that are out there selling pure death benefit to families that have minors. Most people don't realize that a minor can't inherit without a trust. So really, really vital. Yeah, they can't contract. They're not old enough. And unfortunately, the 401k custodian, the life insurance company, they just have a requirement that we put a beneficiary there. They don't say this beneficiary has to be over 18.
Yeah, I think that gives, even the agent a clear scope of what service they're providing and knowing what those documents are. Because at the end of the day, everything that you just said, all of those documents were to keep the client in control of their own life. And I think that's really important to communicate to them is we're not trying to put a plan in place. We're trying to facilitate the plan that is best for you. Right? So we're trying to constantly put the client in control through education. So we do it with Medicare. This is going to affect you. This is how. Estate planning, this is going to affect you. This is how. Annuities, this is going to affect you, and this is how. So that's what we're doing. We are the this is how people. We go into that appointment. We're doing the fact finding, which is pivotal, right? You need to do some fact finding in order to know where the solution is needed. And so doing that education, that should be our top priority. I love that you want to talk about the kids and the whole family, because it isn't just the parents. It isn't just the clients. It does affect everyone around them, which is a great referral opportunity as well. More often than not, people don't know about life insurance. Let's bring them in and we can talk about that. And it is a wheel that never stops. So I think having an agent sitting here and listening to this and you think, I don't want to get into that, please reconsider. This could change your entire business and the way you do it. It could put you in front of more people. You're looking to get in front of more people, have more appointments. What's a better way than to say, hey, I just helped your mom and dad. Let me explain how I did it and how that's going to affect you. Then you're in that appointment, and that can just blossom into so many different opportunities. So if you're a new agent and you're listening and you're thinking, is this right for me? The answer is yes. How do I get involved? Click the link below. AnnuityFundamentals.com. We will get you in touch with Stephanie and her husband, and we will get you on the right track to say, okay, this is how I'm going to protect my client from health to wealth. And that's what our entire mission is as agents, is to help protect our clients. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. AnnuityFundamentals.com. Book a call with us, and we'd love to answer any questions you have. With that being said, Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us. This was amazing. I got a ton of good information. I know agents, I hope they're writing some things down, succession docs being one of them. Get that language in there. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your time, and we'll definitely need to have you back.